What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're going to be talking about why SOD Phase 2 actually killed SOD and all the hype surrounding it. Now we're going to be going over the problems with leveling, raids, PvP, and also the length of time that the actual seasons are running between each one of them. So without further ado, let's get straight into it here. So we're going to go ahead and start this off here with leveling. Leveling in SOD was amazing because the entire point of it was to rediscover the world of classic World of Warcraft that we all grew and fell in love with when we were, well, much younger, really. You know, that was kind of like our glory years. And, you know, my opinion is that that was kind of the glory years of gaming, really. And it was amazing to go out into the world and just re-experience it, or start to re-experience it from level 1 to 25. Now, level 1 to 20 forced you to quest. It wasn't really efficient to AoE farm. It wasn't really efficient to dungeon grind. Sure, maybe level 1 to 20 was questing, and then 20 to 25 was doing your dead mines, your SFK, your wailing caverns, you know, those low level dungeons. Sure, maybe, but it wasn't that big of a difference for it to matter. And additionally, leveling from 1 to 25, if you're fast, it's like 12 hours, and if you're slow, it's like 22 hours, something like that. And you compare that with Phase 2, where I feel they completely got it wrong, because it didn't benefit you to go questing. It really benefits you to actually just go and dungeon grind, because level 25 to 30 in stockades is like 12 hours. Level 25 to 30 leveling is like 15 to 20 hours. If you have a great group, you could probably do it in like 6-7 hours, right? Just that alone, like that's your entire level 1 to 20 earlier. And after that, what do you do? Questing from level 30 to 40? Definitely not. You want to go run Scarlet Monastery because you get like 24 to 40,000 experience an hour. That's like 1 level an hour. So if you're fast and you have a good group and you have a dedicated group of people, you could easily get from level 30 to 40 in 12 hours. So if you're fast and you know what you're doing, you can get, and you can know life, level 25 to 40 in like 24, 27 hours, something like that. And if you're slow, it'll be like 40 hours dungeon grinding. But if you're questing, it's like 50 to 60 hours. It's a huge difference. So just that alone prohibits the amount of time that people can actually make alts, because the fun part about, you know, Phase 1 is that you could bang out an alt in like 3 days, and then you have like 3-4 lockouts BFD, and you almost have best in slot gear. It's great. It was amazing. You could try different things out, you know, you get all the runes, but then it went on for too long, in my opinion. It took the fun out of it because the hype extremely died down. Everyone was playing SOD Phase 1. Everyone was having a blast, and sure, you know, you still had your rogues and your warriors on top, but the power level difference wasn't that big. Sure, in BFD, beginning casters were extremely nerfed because you actually had insane spell res and immunities from bosses. So bringing a caster was like bringing half a person, so it was kind of useless, so you might as well just bring melee. But we'll get to that in a second. So in my personal opinion, the entire charm of World of Warcraft is to go out into the world. Sure, you can do some dungeons here and there, but there's no one actually going out in the world and enjoying it and exploring it. They're just going out there, getting some runes done super fast, and then just hopping into Scarlet Monastery because that's where you get your best in slot gear anyways for like 90% of classes. Sure, you still have some Uldaman and some RFD to run, but all in all, it doesn't make sense to be running quests because then you have to run Scarlet Monastery after you do quests anyways. So it doesn't actually make sense for anybody to not be running Scarlet Monastery, which is dumb. At least one way to combat this would be to increase quest rewards, so XP and gold, and maybe get better gear from it or something by like 50 or 100%. People would actually be out in the world more. And sure, you'd still be having people dungeon grind and, you know, do a little bit here and there, but it wouldn't be so insane. Now, moving on here, we have the actual raids. So we know when BFD first released, it was hard. You had to go to dungeons, you had to grind them out to get your specific gear that you needed, your pre-biz, and do all that. Now, Phase 2 changed that tremendously, if you didn't realize that. You don't even need to farm gear, honestly. Like, half your BFD gear is going to actually carry over from level 25. And sure, you'll have some pieces to replace out before doing Nomer, but most of those you get from Scarlet Monastery, or like 1 run from Uldaman and 1 run from RFD. It's insanely different. Now, for your PvP, I'm kind of mixed on this point, okay? Because in Phase 1, warriors and rogues And even mages were still the top of DPS. They were amazing. And even honestly, I'm totally forgetting this right now, but even warlocks were insane and nothing would even come close to them. Rogue was still, you know, one-tapping people. Warriors were absolutely one-tapping people. Now, moving on to world PvP, it was pretty insane because yes, it sucked to have 40 to 50 people in your layer as alliance and you have like 300 horde on that same layer. So it's just a blowout victory and it went both ways and it was never, I felt like a fair fight. I would honestly have fixed that by doing something extremely simple. I would have just had it be like where you walk into Ashenvale, there's like a little prompt that comes up and it's like, hey, do you want to opt in or do you want to opt out of the upcoming PvP event? And you say yes or no. And if it's yes, then you get automatically layered to a balanced layer. So it's like if there's 50 alliance and 49 horde and you're walking in there, you're going to be automatically transported to layer 1, so that way there's 50 and 50, and they just have it balance out that way, because the entire point, if I remember correctly, was at the beginning of SOD you couldn't make an alliance character on Crusader Strike because there was too many alliance. You had to make a horde, so that is also part of it. So now moving on from that, now you have the STV event. Now the STV event is honestly completely different and it kind of sucks in my opinion, just because of one thing specifically. It's because it's a battle royale. It's not even a regular PvP event, which is kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's insane. You go there, you try to get a group together, you know, get your 5 people together and you layer off of the layer from your party, or you have half of your party between 3 different layers, or it's just all these little tiny problems that don't even make it fun anymore. 8 out of the 10 times that I did the STV event, I layered off of my party in my group. Even if we started in Booty Bay, even if we started in Duskwood and then walked down, I still had the same problem. Half the time that I was by myself, because I didn't have party members, because I was on a different layer, I would have people, as soon as I spawned in, would start wailing on me, leave me with like 5% HP on purpose. I would try to get away, you know, hamstrings, slows, etc. They'd just wait for the timer to tick up and then they'd kill you. I would honestly make it one of 2 ways. Either one would be give it 10 to 15 seconds of immunity where you can't receive or take damage, or 2, you have to leave the starting graveyard area so you can buff and you can prep and everything, and nobody can damage you while you're still in there. Or you just make it the immunity where you have enough time to actually mount up, buff up, get whatever you need, and then move on. Now, all in all, I feel like in phase 1, there's not too much to innovate because it's only level 25. So, you know, the leveling experience, as I went over, is about 12 hours. Plus, they've been a raid at level 25, which is cool. However, I think they severely over-tuned the gear and the classes at that time, and they didn't realize the fact of healing and DPSing, even just in a PvP basis, is crazy at level 25, and you're feeling it even more now at level 40. But now when we get into level 50, if it's the exact same thing as phase 2, where no dungeons are different, they add in a random PvP, which essentially cuts off doing any quests in that area because people are just going to be ganking you full time, and then adding in one raid and changing nothing else and adding in some flavor runes, you're not really giving people what they want out of Season of Discovery. They need to be adding in maybe some dungeons. Maybe if they don't even add in dungeons, they change up some of the mechanics of the bosses. And then it's going to be terrible as well for PvP specifically. And even bosses are maybe not going to be that much fun in raid when you get to level 60 if they don't change up some stuff here, like severely. They need to either rework existing items that are in Classic to be better, or they need to be working out how to scale bosses higher, and they need to somehow fix PvP, because at level 60, everything is going to be one-tapping everything else. So that's going to be even worse than it is now. And more people are going to start gravitating away from it because you're going to be able to spend less time on alts, so less time discovering new things, and you're going to be stuck into one class. So it needs to be as balanced out as possible. Otherwise, it's just not going to be fun, and it's going to be the exact same classic experience we've had for the last 20 years. All right, well, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like it, please leave a like, subscribe, etc.